Yo, what's going on guys? Mush back at it, and in this video we're going to be looking at the Prey system requirements. And if you guys don't know what this game is, it's actually a reimagination or a reboot of the Prey game that was released back in 2006. That game was a pretty underrated sci-fi first-person shooter. It was actually supposed to see a sequel in Prey 2, but that was cancelled. And now we have this new Prey title which looks really good. However, there is some sketchy things going on with this game, especially on PC, that I want to cover before getting into the meat of this video. First of all, Prey will follow what Bethesda has been doing recently with their games, and there's gonna be no review copies until the release of the game. That in its own right, I do not like to see. I mean, I don't care if I don't get a copy, that's really irrelevant to me, but the fact that nobody is getting a copy, and we won't be seeing any reviews until at least release day, that's a little disappointing to me. But the biggest kick in the balls, and that's in regards to PC users, is that there was actually a demo for this game that was released on PS4 and Xbox One, but it wasn't released on PC. And to add to that, Prey is actually being developed by Arcane Studios. Arcane Studios are the guys that developed Dishonored 2, and that game just ran very poorly on PC. So it sucks that we're really gonna be in the dark in regards to how this game is gonna run on PC until launch. There's gonna be no early review copies, and we've gotten no demos, so I'm very excited for this game. I think it's got a lot of potential, but this is one that I would be very skeptical about. Obviously, don't pre-order the game, but with Steam, you know, you do have Steam refunds, but if you decide to use a different retailer, wait until release, see how the game runs, and then make your decision. With that being said, the system requirements for the game have been released, and this is still a game that does have a lot of potential, so I hope for the best. So let's get right into the requirements. With the minimum CPU requirement, you're looking at an Intel i5-2400 or an AMD FX-8320. As far as recommended CPU goes, you're looking at an Intel Core i7-2600K or an AMD FX-8350. Nothing too crazy there. They're recommending i5 and i7s of the Sandy Bridge line, so that's kind of surprising. Usually whenever an i5 is listed as minimum, if you have something like a 3570K or above and you've overclocked it a little bit, you'll be perfectly fine. That's at least what I've noticed with the majority of titles. For GPU minimum requirement, you're looking at a GTX 662GB or an AMD Radeon HD 7850 2GB. Very old GPUs. I actually had a 660 Ti back in, I believe, like 2012, so it's been a long time since that GPU's been released. I always wish with these minimum and recommended requirements, developers would just use the latest line of GPUs, or at least the generation of GPUs that were released in the last year or two, but no, they're listing the 660 and the 7850, which are literally almost 5 years old. Just always a pet peeve of mine. As far as recommended GPU goes, you're looking at a GTX 970 4GB or an AMD R9 294GB. The 974GB is a little bit misleading because there was all that drama about it being a 3.5GB video card. At this point, the 970 is still a very good GPU, but a GPU like the 480, which is fairly cheap, performs pretty comparable to it, so it's not that out of the world at this point. Minimum RAM requirement is 8GB and recommended is actually 16GB. I've been seeing this more and more with a lot of the newer releases, so it's not too surprising. Me still running 8GB of RAM. Hopefully this won't hamper my experience too much. Probably should upgrade to 16GB of RAM sooner rather than later. They've also got a listing of all the PC advanced settings that are going to be available, which include object detail, shadow quality, texture quality, anti-stropic filtering, anti-aliasing, horizontal field of view, screen space decorational occlusion, and screen space reflections. So yeah, that is what I have to say about Prey. The game looks really good on PC. I do have some skepticism. It's really unfortunate that we aren't getting a demo. I mean, what other reason is there to not release a demo on PC other than if you're a little weary about how the game's performing? Maybe they'll have it ready by the time it's released, but again, I would just be very skeptical of it. Arcane Studios really fumbled with Dishonored 2. Hopefully they get it right with Prey, but hopefully isn't something you can drop your $60 on. Definitely wait until the release, see how the game turns out, and then decide whether or not you want to pick it up. So this is gonna wrap up this video, guys. As always, thanks for watching. If you have a request for a future video, you can leave it in the comments section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.